Hi, welcome back. Today I am bringing you another starter kit video. So a couple years ago, I did a minimal starter kit video, which a lot of you loved. It was a very popular video on my channel at the time, and I realized that I never did the affordable version of that. So a lot of the products I mentioned in my minimal makeup starter kit were on the high end side. So I thought I would pull out some favorite minimal and affordable products to put together a similar video, but in an affordable fashion. So I've pulled out some old time favorites, some newer products, just things that I think will really appeal to those of you who are looking for a smaller collection. If you're new to my channel and you are just getting into makeup, or you just want something that is really universal, small products that you can multitask with, then hopefully this is going to be the one for you. If you're already a subscriber of my channel, you'll definitely see some fan favorites here, but like I said, also some things that I think will be surprising to you. So let's go ahead and get into it. So starting out with brushes, I still to this day firmly believe that Real Techniques is the most accessible and best bang for your buck. I think these were the brushes that I featured even in my other minimal makeup starter kit where I talked about other high-end products. I still kept Real Techniques as my core brush set because they just, this one right here has been riding with me for, I would say going into like at least 8 years now. This was one of my first ever Real Techniques brushes, and it works just as good as the day that I purchased it. The setting brush, I have done an entire video on why this is the only brush one person could possibly need in their collection. You can literally do an entire face of makeup with this brush. So Real Techniques does have that core set where you get this brush, you get the setting brush, a couple of eyeshadow brushes, and I think if you are a minimal person, if you truly are into, the minimal makeup lifestyle, that's going to be a perfectly appropriate set. I think it also comes with the sponge. So it comes with every single thing you need for your complexion. So I still stand by Real Techniques. I know some people like Morphe. I do have a couple of core brushes from Morphe as well, but in terms of quality and how the brushes have held up, I still think Real Techniques. Primer is not something I would consider a necessity for a minimalist makeup starter kit. I think that if you are someone who is just looking for a nice soft focus finish, you're not necessarily looking for heavier products to last throughout the day on your skin. So for that reason, I would just suggest using whatever your daily moisturizer is. That's generally what I would do. Generally, your daily moisturizer is going to obviously be appropriate for your skin type. So if you're more on the matte side, you might have something that is a little bit more of a flat finish for your moisturizer. If you like dewy things, you're going to have something that's going to give you a bit of a glow. Personally, if you want to go the minimalist route, that's what I would do. But I did want to give an honorable mention to one of my favorite drugstore primers, and this is specific for my skin type, and it's the L'Oreal Lumi Glotion. Now, the reason I wanted to mention this is because I actually use this as kind of like a foundation, especially in the summertime. It does have a bit of a tint to it. It's not like it comes in a ton of shade. However, it does act as a really lovely primer to give you a natural enhanced glow. So this is definitely my pick. It's one I've been using for quite a few years now. It feels really reviving, really cooling on the skin, and like I said, sometimes I actually wear it as my base product. Neutrogena and Loreal took the cake for me on complexion products when I was rounding up foundations for this video. I have 2 Neutrogena and 2 L'Oreal. So I want to start off with the L'Oreal because these are slightly newer formulas. My Neutrogena one, I definitely have an old school favorite. I'll give you guys just a second. You're probably going to guess it. But we'll get to that in a second. So I have 2 L'Oreal foundations here. We have the L'Oreal, they're both from the Age Perfect line. I love the Age Perfect line. They do a great job of just giving that kind of youthful appearance to the skin. So I have the Age Perfect 4-in-1 Tinted Balm and also the Age Perfect Radiant Serum Foundation. So 2 very different formulas here. If you are someone who is really minimal, you nonstop, no matter where you're going, if it's a special occasion, if it's daily wear, work, whatever, just goes for super natural, lightweight coverage. the balm is going to be it for you. It just feels incredible on the skin. It has a natural light coverage to it, and just something about it I have thoroughly enjoyed using. I think it only came out at the beginning of this year, so I've used this all throughout the summer, and it has just been a treat to use. It feels very high end on the skin, but it's definitely going to remain in that minimal category. You're going to get light coverage from it. Don't expect it to bump up anything. If you get like a pimple that pops up, you have some discoloration, this isn't necessarily going to cover that. So enter the L'Oreal Radiant Serum Foundation. This will give you coverage. My rule of thumb when building a collection for someone who just wants to keep things minimal is to probably go for something that does have a little bit more coverage. Even if you generally lean towards the lighter coverage arena, you can always mix your moisturizer in with your foundation and get a softer finish on your skin. So for that reason, that's why I tend to recommend something like this, because if you do have a, let's say, an occasion or something that pops up on your face that you want a little bit more coverage, you actually do have the ability to do that. And again, it kind of falls into the multitask category. So this is the foundation I am wearing right now. It is a little light on me. This is my winter color, but I'm slowly starting to lose my summer color, so I made it work for this video, and I just kind of wanted to wear it today because it truly does look and feel like a high-end foundation on the skin. It gives such a beautiful medium coverage to the skin. Something about it is just very smoothing, very youthful looking. The first time I ever used this, I thought for sure I was using like a Shiseido, an Armani foundation, which I'm pretty sure L'Oreal owns Armani, so there's probably similar ingredients in both formulas, but this is one that I think is universal. I think most skin types could use this foundation. It has a natural finish. It's not overly glowy, dewy, and it's definitely not matte. So it's somewhere in that natural category, and it's lovely. It is beautiful, lovely, super high-end formula for an affordable price. Also, I love the packaging. It's really travel friendly. So I'm sure most of you guessed Neutrogena Hydro Boost is still hanging in there for me. This is one of my longest running drugstore foundations as far as repurchases go. It is such a beautiful formula. It is light coverage. It has a gel texture to it. It's one of the first drugstore foundations that I remember having hyaluronic acid in it. I know hyaluronic acid is in everything now, but this was OG. Like this is an old foundation. If you're familiar with my channel, you know I have been using this for years, and it was just a ride or die for me for the longest time, especially having sensitive eczema prone skin. This always felt so just almost like a relief when I put it on my skin because it's so cooling, hydrating, and it just feels lovely on the face. It really does almost feel like a gel moisturizer. So this is one I think minimalists will love because it gives you just the perfect amount of coverage, not too much, not too little. So this year they also came out with the Sensitive Skin Serum Foundation. This is one I have really been enjoying as well. And it's really interesting because I initially thought that this would be more appropriate for dry skin, but the way that it settles and just finishes on the skin is actually super natural. And so I think this one would be geared maybe a little bit more towards those of you who might have combination skin. It feels luxurious when you put it on. It really does feel like a very smooth serum. Now, I do believe the coverage on the Sensitive Skin Serum and the L'Oreal 4-in-1 Tinted Balm, very similar. You are going to get the lightest coverage with these two products. But again, I think if you're someone that knows what they like and light coverage is what you go for, this is a beautiful option. It's the name of the game. It almost just feels like you're putting on a moisturizer or like your day serum. And I think that's what a lot of people who are into the minimal makeup life really enjoy. They like the feeling of just almost feeling like you're putting on skincare. And this is one of those products I would put in that category. Two concealer options here, two very different concealer options I have to present. One is a little bit more coverage, one is definitely more of a light coverage. So we're going to start off with the one that has a little bit more coverage. This is a cult favorite in the drugstore community, for a reason, and it's the Bare With Me Serum Concealer. Now, a lot of you probably remember I was a huge fan of the Bare With Me Skin Tint, which I believe is no longer available. At least I've not seen it in my Ulta in a very long time. I have not checked the NYX website, but just the Bare With Me line in general is a great line to look into within NYX because it just has some really great natural wear products. This definitely being one of them. So this is Bare With Me Serum Concealer. Phenomenal coverage. This has such a beautiful a medium coverage. Definitely it gives a decent amount of coverage, but it just melts into the skin and it looks phenomenal, and the texture is just melty and dreamy, and something about it just blends into the skin seamlessly. I think out of the two, this is definitely a versatile option because if you need to bump up the coverage for a certain day or a certain event, this concealer is going to be able to provide you with that. If you want really just lightweight spot coverage, you just need a tiny dot on the back of your hand. A little goes a long way with the Bare With Me concealer. This little baby just recently entered my life and I have been blown away by it. It has been one of my favorite drugstore discoveries in probably the past like at least 5 years now, and it's the e.l.f. Flawless Brightening Concealer Pen. So this is very much an even better dupe, in my opinion, for the YSL Touche Éclat concealer, which is, I don't know, it's probably up to like at least $35 now. And it does provide, the YSL provides very little coverage. I actually think the e.l.f. one has a little bit more than the YSL, which again, slightly more versatile, but you are going to get a light coverage out of this. It's very brightening. The colors do tend to run a little bit more on like the pink salmon side. And I think that is for the color correction purposes. It's definitely marketed as being more of like the brightening under eye, but I use it all over. Like I don't have any problem. And I just think it's such an affordable and good formula. It absolutely looks like no makeup skin dream. Like what you want your under eye area to look like when you wake up in the morning, you know, just like fresh, natural skin. I think it's only maybe like $6. Personally, if you've never tried it, I think this is something that everyone should at least try once. Beautiful, natural finish. Again, really portable, would go great in a small minimal collection. Let's talk about blush. I think these are fantastic little palettes, and they actually double as blush and lip palettes. So I'm actually not going to discuss a ton of lip products in this video just because I think lip products are already super small. I am going to talk about some formulas that I think double up as like lip balm, lip serum hybrids, but just in general, I think everyone has their own lip preferences, and when it comes to like a minimal collection, I kind of just wanted to reference more of like the core products. So this is a lip and cheek palette, and I think it's just so fun and innovative and interesting, and I have really enjoyed using these throughout the few years I've owned them. And it's the Undone Beauty Lip to Cheek palette. So if you can see, there's kind of like 3 separate compartments here, or 3 separate strips. So basically the way these palettes work, you have 3 shades, all the same shade, but different pigment levels. So you start out with the sheerest formula, then it's a medium coverage, and then a full coverage. So you can kind of mix and play around with the styles. I really like to use the medium coverage for my cheek color, and then for the lips, I love using just the sheer for a nice wash of color. They're all really beautiful formulas, easy to apply, super creamy. They come in quite a bit, or quite a few colors. I have, this one's my favorite. It's the one I'm wearing on. It's the one I'm wearing on my cheeks right now. It's called Rosewood, and it's kind of just like a terracotta, which is the name of the game for me. You know, I love my good like peach, nude, terracotta shades. Then I also have Flare, which is a little too pink. Like it's not my favorite. I ordered this online and I wasn't really expecting it to be this pink, but it was my first ever one, and I was still impressed with the quality when I got it in. So they come in a few different colors. You can play around, see which one suits you best. But I just think it's a really cool, innovative concept. I love products that you can multitask with, use on the lips and cheeks, and I think the formula is great on these palettes. So I have a cream and a powder bronzer option here, just depending on what you tend to lean towards or what you feel like is going to go best with the collection that you may have already started or that you're looking into. I have another Undone Beauty product. So this is their water bronzer, and this is such a fun formula. They also make these in blushes and highlighters. I did include the blushes because they do run a little bit more on like the brighter popsicle side. They definitely come off as more of like a stain on the cheeks. So I feel like the lip to cheek palettes are a little bit more versatile in the sense of the color options, but I do love the bronzers. Now, this style of bronzer, I will say, works best with the lighter coverage products. So this is going to work best with like the Neutrogena serum that I mentioned or the L'Oreal tinted balm. I don't like to use this formula with my medium coverage products because it is a heavily water focused product. It does contain a lot of water in it, and it tends to streak away products that already have a lot of pigment. So just keep that in mind. I like to use this. If I do use it, I mean, I'm wearing it today, but I did apply it carefully with that L'Oreal Serum Foundation. I used my setting brush and just kind of tapped it into my skin. However, it is so refreshing. It's fun to apply. It comes in a few colors, 4 or 5 different shades, and it's almost like an invisible bronzer on your skin. It's really cool. Just the way that it applies, the way that it feels. Love that is super small, minimal, and travel friendly as well. So this is one I have just really enjoyed, and it just reminds me of something that someone who is going for that minimal makeup life would love. For my powder option, I have the Milani Silky Matte Bronzer, specifically in this shade. If you feel like you're similar to my skin tone, it's called Sunkissed. It's number 2. I love how neutral it is, and it really is exactly what the name says. It's very silky and it is very matte. So if you just don't get down with cream bronzer, you prefer a powder, this is a lovely formula from Milani. I will admit, because I do tend to lean a little bit more towards a cream bronzer, I don't often reach for my powders, but every time I pull this out, generally what I'll do when I pull this out is when my foundation's a little too light for me, this is what I'll use for all over. So I do have a little bit on today, and it just goes on ultra smooth. That's what I love about it. So it's very smooth. If you're a minimalist, it will last you a really long time. Let's talk about powder really quickly. This is one that I love from the drugstore, and I feel like it's also a multi-use product because it is considered a powder foundation. And a lot of you know my grudge with the drugstore and how they label stuff powder foundation, and it's really not. Like, it gives you bare minimum coverage. This gives you really good coverage. So technically you could use it as your foundation on certain days if you wanted to. This would be great for combination oily people out there who are just looking for a good affordable drugstore powder, and it's the e.l.f. Camo powder foundation. So I actually use this a lot as just like my setting powder. Now if you use it that way, just keep a light hand because it does have a good amount of pigment to it, but it's very smoothing, very long lasting, just really effective and at a good price. So it's really creamy. Like, when you tap your brush in, you're gonna notice you do get quite a bit of product, and it's very emollient and it's very creamy, and I love that about it. You can use it with a sponge if you'd like. You can use it with a brush. With a sponge, you are gonna get like a super like soft focused effect. Definitely it's going to help blur your pores, so that's a plus. But I do caution, if you use a sponge with it, you're gonna get quite a bit of coverage on the skin. It's just a lot of different ways, honestly, you can use this powder, and I really do like it for that reason. And I think the formula is top notch. Like I said, it's probably the best drugstore powder foundation that I've tried. I'm still riding with my e.l.f. Wow Brow. I think this is a phenomenal brow product that would appeal to most people who are leaning into the minimalist makeup category because it's a one and done product. You just run it through your brows. It does fill in the majority of the spots that I need it to. With my issue is that I do have some areas on the really lower part that I feel like might need a little bit of extra filling in after I use this, but on like a quick just throw on day where I need some color on my brows, this is a wonderful option. It's hands down duped Glossier Boy Brow and quite a few other like high-end brow gels that I've tried in the past. Now, I do want to also mention that if you're looking for a good drugstore clear brow gel, I don't have this one anymore, but I literally every time I went to Ulta twice and I forgot to pick it up, mainly because I'm still trying to use up my higher end brow gels. But the NYX Control Freak brow gel, that's a phenomenal clear brow gel. So if you're looking for something really simple, clear, that's one I would suggest. It holds the brows in place just as good as any high-end brow gel. So e.l.f. Wow Brow is still my pick. It's been my pick for several years now. Nothing has changed that. Okay, let's get into the fun stuff. Eyeshadow. I just feel like eyeshadow is the fun talk of the town category. Unfortunately, if you have come here for palette recommendations, you're not going to get any. Those of you who are familiar with my channel, you know I'm a cream eyeshadow person, ride or die. I actually don't even own that many eyeshadow palettes. I've purchased a couple in the past like year that have spoke to me, that I feel like have had a really pretty color lineup, but other than that, I stick to my cream eyeshadows. So I have a few to talk about. I guess I should talk about the most accessible, or the ones I feel like that are the most accessible. e.l.f. makes some awesome cream and liquid eyeshadows. So we have the classic No Budge eyeshadows. These are classic eye sticks, and they make them in shimmer shades and also matte shades, which I have here. This is one of the newer colors that I've been loving. It's called Thrift Shop. These have a pretty good lasting power to them. I don't find that I have too many issues with creasing, especially in the matte formula. I think the matte formula definitely holds on throughout the day. The satin finish, certain colors are kind of hit or miss, and I wouldn't say a miss, but don't necessarily last as long on my eyes. There is a color, I think it's called Magnetic or Magnetic Pool in the shimmer shades. Phenomenal. And I know a lot of you use that color because I get comments all the time, you know, recommending that shade, and I actually already own it, love it. It's a really unique kind of like amethyst purple gray shift. So yeah, I'll try to pull that out in the swatch demo for you guys to see it, but it's you know, these are like classics. They're really affordable. I feel like they're at a lot of drugstores, so if they're not in your drugstore, you can also find them online as well. If you're a shimmer fan, I have their little liquid shimmer shadows here. I have two colors. I have Comet and Little Dipper. Little Dipper is gorgeous. It's like this kind of like a mix between a purple and a pink, and then Comet is like your classic kind of bronze tone. These are really travel friendly. They're super small, and if you want a little pop on the lid, these are good products to look into. Now, are they going to be like your everyday just throw on shadow? Probably not, because they are pretty intense, but just wanted to throw in a little fun option here. These definitely pack a punch and are super user friendly too. Now, these are not drugstore, but they are extremely affordable, and in my opinion, some of the best cream eyeshadows on the market, and they are the Beauty Pie cream eyeshadow sticks. So of course I've raved about these for a few years now. I have been using these, and I just sometimes the colors and certain finishes on these I think are better than like my caviar sticks. It just depends on what the color is, what the finish is. There are some phenomenal high performing cream shadows. I haven't tried one yet that hasn't lasted on me all day, or that like is hard to blend. They are all just so creamy, pigmented, chef's kiss, like amazing. They are made in Italy, and if I had to guess, they're probably made in the same factory that let's say a Laura Mercier caviar stick or a Bobbi Brown longwear cream shadow stick are made. But like I said, sometimes these outperform both of those, and I just think that once you try these and you see how good they are, it's going to be hard to go back, because they are truly that good. I'm wearing the shade Velvetina today, and then I also have the shade Fauna on with it on the outer corner. Goldie is another favorite of mine. Love that shade Brazilianaire. These do sell out pretty quick, so if you are a Beauty Pie member, or you're browsing the website and you see that they're in stock, grab, because a lot of the popular shades sell out very fast. Okay, I mentioned I wasn't going to, you know, go into into lip products that much just because they're already, I think, minimal products. Like, they don't take up a ton of space. I don't know. I just feel like it's subjective. You're either a lip person or you're not. But I did want to talk about some of my favorite affordable combinations. The first being lip liners. And this is going to come as no surprise because these are like one of the only drugstore lip liners I have used consistently for probably the past 10 years. And it's just the NYX pencil liners. I mean, they're basic. We love a good basic pencil liner. They come in so many colors. They're tiny. You could literally own like 8 of these and they would take up no space at all. These are hands down my pick for lip pencils. And then in regards to glosses, we're going to go back to Beauty Pie. Because it is just a US and UK based company, but their collagen lip oils are so good. Like, they feel so moisturizing on the lips. They're definitely a hybrid between like some type of serum and a gloss. They feel amazing. They smell amazing. They come in some gorgeous colors. I love the shade Cherry-O, this red right here. Beautiful, chef's kiss. So if you are someone who likes that moisturizing feeling, almost as if you're putting on like a chapstick or a lip serum, these are going to be great to look into, and they have some really stunning color options. Okay, I think we have ran through everything. I hope you enjoyed seeing an affordable version of this video that I made a couple years ago. I guess I finally got around to doing it. I think I did have some affordable options in that initial video as well. That's probably why I didn't just right off the bat film a new one, but it's been a couple years, so I thought we would get to it. Also, I am filming in my like old school lifestyle background. I've kind of jazzed things up back here. This actually used to be my makeup storage area. Like, well, you can't see it, but I do have a stack off to the side here where I still currently keep products that I'm testing, products that have been sent to me that I haven't had an opportunity to try out. So that's why I really haven't filmed in this like lifestyle background, because there's just honestly been junk back there. But I did see a couple comments where people were like, hey, like, you know, missing that like old school lifestyle background. So I do realize I film on a like just clear white background, but honestly it's just to kind of get that, you know, that like pure effect when I'm doing makeup, so there's no distractions. So I might bounce back and forth, but I do like a good switch up. So let me know if you're feeling the lifestyle vibe. But yeah, just wanted to address that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions for me, leave them down below, and I'll see y'all in my next one.